Welcome to the show where we talk all things sales, marketing, and helping you win the game. My name is Natalie, and we are back here sitting with Greg Ross, the boss, an expert sales trainer and coach, to discuss a very hot topic that is a big one for salespeople out there, how to handle any cold call objection. I could barely get through that sentence. I was so excited to be like, I need to know the secret for this. But can you tell me, is that true? Is it possible to truly overcome any objection?
Yeah, basically. Hey, Natalie, thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be back again with you. This is so cool. As somebody who's spent many hours on the phone with prospects, I can tell you it's possible to overcome almost every objection. We'll put a little asterisk there. Obviously, let me just lay the ground rules, okay? If you call and you catch a prospect on their cell phone, they're headed to a funeral, do not try to sell them anything, okay? Let that poor person go. And I think that's, we laugh, but like I've seen it. So I think that's one of the areas where we as salespeople don't have enough empathy, right? Life is not all about you and your sales sometimes.
It's not.
Yeah. So also, if the prospect tells you they just retired, then yeah, you're probably not going to have a productive meeting with that person. Although I would still go for a referral, right? Ask them who took over and if they can make an introduction. And if they just purchased your competitor's product or service and they just signed a 3-year contract with your direct competitor, and the two are kind of mutually exclusive, then yeah, you might have to wait a while. So setting those three aside, yes, I can actually help you and the viewers overcome any objection that comes their way on a cold call. And I'm very proud of that.
I'm already sitting on the edge of my seat. This is exciting. I just don't even know what you're going to say next, because I think it's something that we all want to know. We want to know if somebody, why not try and sell them if they just got retired? Wouldn't they be excited and want to buy all the things? So I'm excited for you to kind of crack the code for all of us. I thought I would do something a little bit different. Okay. So I thought it would be way more fun if I kind of put you on the hot seat and tested your ability to really overcome these cold objections, because I don't want anybody on here who's watching that we ran through them beforehand. I really kind of want to come at you and kind of see how you handle it. Are you down with that?
I'm down for a challenge. Absolutely. I've never shied away from a challenge like that. So even if I look a little silly, I'm willing to do it for the sake of the viewers and to add some value. Let's do it. I'm down. How do you want to do that?
Hey, we said at the beginning of this, it is game time, where sales is a game. So we are in the game right now. We are playing it. I'm ready. I want everyone to know on my end, there you go. On my end, I do have a list of what I personally believe I think are the absolute toughest objections to overcome. I'm looking at them and I'm even tripping up, and I'm not even the one trying to object them right now. Like, it's crazy. So I'm not going to give you any hints ahead of time. Okay, this is my list. I'm watching. He doesn't have them. We're taking a really different approach for this. So we're going to go objection by objection. It's the rules of the game. And I'm really going to test your abilities. So I'll tell you what the objection is, and then you're going to tell me how you handle it. Sound good?
Yeah, that sounds good. But you know what? Let's raise the stakes even a little bit higher. So so let's do that. I'll tell you my opinion on how to handle the objection, which is the best opinion. No, I'm just kidding. And then we'll do a role play, actually, because what I've found is, like, when I tell people how to handle an objection, sometimes it's hard to really visualize and see what that actually looks like in real life. So can we do a role play for each one too? And that way, like, they can see actually what it would sound like. And I think it'll help for memorization, and it'll help them learn those objection handles a little bit more effectively. Deal?
Yeah, you just put me in the game now. So plot twist, everybody who's watching, I'm playing now too. Let's go get crazy. Okay, I'll be in the hot seat as well. We will see how this goes. But okay, before all of that though, because we're rolling, we're about to dive into this. This is a very hot topic. I know people are super excited for this who constantly tune in. But can you do like a quick introduction and kind of set the context of what we're talking about here before we actually dive into it when we say cold call objections?
Yeah, totally. That's a good call. So if we've never met, hi, it's nice to meet you. My name's Greg Ross. I'm an expert sales coach and trainer, and I've got about 2 decades of experience. Wow, I feel old all of a sudden, but yeah, 2 decades of experience in sales. I've been a top performer. So I've been on top of the stack ranks as an account executive, a hunter, which in sales terms means I never had a warm lead. I was out cold calling, sending cold emails, generating my own pipeline, finding my own way to success. Started my career as a top performing sales development rep. So I've got that background. For all of you SDRs that are out there watching, what's up? Respect. That's a tough job. And I've also, led a world class, like one of the world's best global sales training programs for a company that at the time was the flagship portfolio company for Vista Equity Partners. So that's a nice little feather in the cap. And then I've worked on the consultative side, working with tech startups, helping them go from 0 to 1 with their sales program. So that's a little bit about me, my background. I have a website, which we'll put a link in the description below. Obviously on YouTube, on TikTok, on LinkedIn, connect with me. I'm very friendly. I'm a real human, and I'd love to help you guys play a better game.
I'm so excited. Yeah. Honestly, I feel like something that people struggle with is confidence. And so I'm kind of excited with this because you think you got it. You're sitting on the edge of your seat. You're ready to go, just like everybody is right now, because you want to see if you're handling it right. And so I'm really excited to kind of see how this helps with confidence. And so can you kind of tell us with that, like what that helps with, or how this could possibly help?
Yeah. Totally happy to. And let me just back it up for 1 second, because what we're focusing on the show today, Natalie, is we're helping them overcome cold call objections. So some people are going to watch this. Maybe they're new to sales and they don't really know much about it because they're looking to get a career in sales or whatever, right? So when we call a prospective buyer and we're trying to get them to take a meeting with us, usually you get a no before you get a yes. So that's what we mean when we talk about cold call objections. Obviously, if you are a seasoned salesperson, you know perfectly well what a cold call objection is. It's the bane of your existence. I have a little joke, Natalie. I say that there's 3 types of salespeople. So there's people who either just heard an objection on a cold call, there's people who are about to hear an objection on a cold call, or there's just people that never make cold calls. In other words, if you're in sales and you're trying to build pipeline for yourself by making dials, you'll be running into objections all the time. So by starting to understand how to turn those no's into yeses, you hit the nail right on the head, Natalie. It's going to give you a huge boost in your confidence. You're going to feel a huge improvement as a cold caller, and you should easily begin to multiply your pipeline numbers, right? In terms of the number of meetings you're setting and how much those meetings are worth. So there's tremendous value in understanding how to turn a no into a yes when you're making cold calls.
Magical. Okay, you answered that so perfectly, because before we even dove into this, I got so hyped and I was like, here's the name of the game. You ready to go? Let's roll the dice. I really want our viewers to understand, like, I know we're all excited to hear about the objections and everything like that, but I just wanted them to understand the true value behind this, because again, I know that there are a ton of people who are out there struggling with this, especially the objections that I have on my screen. So I'm excited to dive in. There's going to be tons of value. Greg Ross, are you ready?
Hit me. I'm ready. Let's do this.
Okay. All right. Number 1. Okay. How would you handle this first objection? You call, the prospect picks up, they say, Greg, I'm sorry, but I'm just walking into a meeting.
Oh, that's a good one. Oh, man. People hear that all the time when they're making cold calls. So okay. So well played, Natalie. So
I feel like I use it on my own family. I'm like, I'm watching into a meeting. I cannot right now, right?
That's awesome. Well, we won't tell them that. Hopefully they're not watching, but
sorry, Mom.
Sorry, Mom. So basically what you want to do here is a fun little bit of reverse psychology, right? You've heard of reverse psychology. So I like to use a little bit of that here when we're overcoming this objection. So you should lighten the mood. I always think that's good by making a little joke. What I like to say is something like this. I usually give a little laugh. Oh, haha. People say I have a real talent, Natalie, for catching people right as they're walking into a meeting. That's amazing. Just my luck, right? I kind of make a little joke out of it. I find that it lightens the mood a little bit.
I like that. Okay. That's good, right? That's good. I like it.
Yeah, then you simply explain to the prospect that it's fine because you're just calling to schedule an intro call with them for next week.
Oh, wait. Okay. So I haven't used that one on my mom. What is that? How do I make that work?
Yeah, so you're probably thinking like, wow, that's it? It's that simple? Yeah, it's that simple. So you might be surprised, but this is where I think it would help to do a little role play and you can actually see what I'm looking about. So are you ready? You ready to step into the octagon?
All right, let's do it. You talked me into it. It's a good idea. You ready?
Okay, I'm ready. All right, I guess we'll do like the traditional. This is so played out, but we'll do it. I'll do the traditional ring, and we'll do a little role play. So ring.
Hello, this is Natalie.
Natalie, hey, this is Greg Ross from Phantom Sales. I know you're super busy. Thanks for taking my call.
Greg, listen, I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm just walking into a meeting. Can you call me back later?
I have a real talent for catching people right as they're walking into meetings. Listen, that's actually okay because the only reason I was calling was to schedule an introduction call with you next week. Okay, pause for a second. Now, if you were the prospect, Natalie, and I say that's okay, the only reason I was calling was to schedule an introduction call with you next week, what naturally comes to your mind? I want you just to think for a second, step out of the role play. What would you say?
Right now, I'm literally like, wait, no. Intro call, like, what is this regarding? So I'm already trying to get off the phone right now.
Exactly. That's perfect. Yeah. Back it up, buddy. What do you mean you're scheduling an introduction call with me, right? What the heck are you talking about? What's this regarding, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're right. That's exactly what they say almost every time. Now, once they've fallen into our trap, that's the trap that we set for them, then here's what we say. Well, okay, Natalie, I know you're tight on time, so I'll just tell you really quick. I saw on LinkedIn that you're in charge of the sales team at XYZ company. And during my conversations with one of your competitors in the market, we were actually able to help their sales reps build tons of new pipeline by teaching them how to overcome some of the common objections they were running into when they're cold calling. I figured if it worked for their team, it would work for yours too. So would next week, same day, same time work for you?
Sure, that works.
Great. I'll send you an invite right now.
Boom. That was amazing. You already did it. You tricked me into literally like asking you what the meeting was about. Like, I don't even know how you did it. It was magic. Brilliant. Okay. Wow. So I feel like we need to go through something a little bit tougher though. Cause I almost feel like literally I'm just like, how did we just roll through that one? Again, you guys, like I have this list in front of me and I'm like, toughest questions. Hey, Sierra, give me the toughest questions. I'm over here really thinking. And so I'm mind blown. So I actually feel like you just made that one a breeze. So
yeah. And the secret there is like when you do that, right, you basically trick them into asking you to make your sales pitch, right? Because now it's a little reverse psychology. They're like, well, what's this regarding? And now they fell right into the trap. That's what you want to have happen. You want them to literally ask you to make your sales pitch. That's a pretty epic reversal from somebody that you called that literally didn't have time to talk to you. By the way, let me let you in on a little secret. They're not actually walking into a meeting 90% of the time.
I never am.
So when we call them on that, you'll find that all of a sudden they've got a lot of questions when they didn't have time to even talk to you. So if you can get that far, then you're one step closer to winning the call. Okay. Now that you're right, that was easy by my standards. I thought you said you had
to through it. No, that was brilliant.
Let's dial up the difficulty a little bit on this.
We are. Let's turn it up. I feel like we need something a little bit tougher. We rolled right through that one. It's game time. It really is game time. This one's good. All right. How about the dreaded send me an email objection?
Oh yeah. Oh, that is, you know what? That is a tough one. And I see most sales reps get this one wrong. And you think that they would learn, right? It's like, who was it? I think it was Albert Einstein. He said, the definition of insanity is to keep doing the same thing over and over, but expecting different results, right? That's kind of what happens. Yeah. So you would think that these sales reps and XDRs would learn based off of the abysmal failure they're getting from sending these emails, but their ego actually is what gets in the way.
Okay. So before we keep going, how so? Because we're going through this and one thing I mentioned earlier is the value that this is going to bring, just helping confidence. So this is good. You're right. You're playing the ego card. Can you explain a little bit more?
Yeah. So as salespeople, we really want to feel important, right? And there is a lot of recognition that comes with the role in sales. They love to celebrate your wins and put your picture up on the slide when you have a big win, right? So, and we also are very proud of the level of expertise that we've attained as a salesperson. Like, it's exciting when you get hired on as maybe an XDR, you start making cold calls, you learn a little bit about the technology, and before you know it, you can hold your own with the buyers, and you're proud of that expertise, right?
Well, who wouldn't be? I mean, who doesn't want to show off? You're the GOAT at that point, right? You're rolling. And so it's
Yeah.
exciting. I think that's kind of like natural.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, that's right. So here's the thing. We can't allow our emotions or our ego to determine which actions we take, right? This is a fundamental rule in sales. So it feels really good to put together a well-written email with tons of relevant information, content. We attach some case studies. Like, all of a sudden we become like this lawyer that's trying to build a case for them to take a meeting with us, right? When in reality,
that's how most people handle this one for sure.
yeah, when in reality, we're not lawyers, we're salespeople, right? So we kind of need to know our boundaries. So I want to challenge everybody on this, right? Really, let's get real honest here, okay? This is where you really need to have a firm grasp of the fundamentals. So, Natalie, let me ask you this question. What is our fundamental goal when we make cold calls? Like, what is that thing that we're actually trying to accomplish? What's the goal of a cold call?
I mean, to book a meeting, right?
Yeah. Yes, you're right. You got it right. 2 points.
Okay.
Nicely done.
Wait, I'm up. Yeah.
Yeah. So when we send them an email with all of the information, case studies, content, details, answer all of their questions, etc., what we're really doing is giving them the meeting without needing to have the meeting. You see what I'm saying?
So true. I mean, so true. Yeah.
So, okay, so it's official. We've decided, we have a consensus, putting together a great email for them. It feels really good for our ego, but it's actually counterproductive to our goal or our mission of the call, which is to get a meeting. And if you've tried sending emails to your prospects, you know that this rarely leads to a meeting. Let's be honest.
It's so true. I'm literally thinking through my head right now. It's truly an awful feeling. Like, you send that email, you put the time putting it together. I mean, you think you have the game, like, it's just, you think you're going to win the game right there, but then it's crickets. It's nothing.
Yeah.
It's an awful feeling.
Yeah, it is an awful feeling. All right. Are you ready to role play this one?
Yes. Okay. I can't wait. Let's go.
All right, let's do this. Ring, ring.
Hello, this is Natalie.
Natalie, hey, it's Greg Ross from Phantom Sales. I know you're super busy. Thanks for taking my call.
No problem.
I know you're busy, so I'll get right to the reason for my call. I was doing a little research on LinkedIn, and I noticed that you're leading the sales team over at XYZ company. So I'm assuming you're involved in training the sales reps. Is that right?
Yeah, I try to provide my reps with great training content, but also coach them like whenever it's possible.
Oh, yeah, that's amazing. Listen, your reps are very fortunate to have someone with your experience and expertise coaching them. As I was looking at your profile, I saw that you've got a really distinguished track record in sales.
Thanks for noticing.
Yeah, of course. So what I do, Natalie, is I help put together sales training programs for other great sales leaders so they can ensure that their reps are getting the support they need. You would still provide the coaching, but I can give them some really solid instruction on a number of different sales topics. And I've worked with sales leaders to help their teams achieve better results. And based off my work with some of your peer companies, I thought I could help you too. So if you have your calendar handy, I'd love to share some ideas with you maybe next week.
Yeah. You know what? That sounds really interesting, Greg. And why don't you send me an email and I can look it over? And if it's of interest, I will call you. Wait, pause. I thought you said it's a bad idea to send them an email.
It is. Yes, it is. You're absolutely right. But what I'm doing here is I'm making it appear as though I'm going to just roll over without a fight. And what that does is it gets the prospect to lower her shields a little bit because, see, the prospect is expecting me to try to convince her in that moment. So if I can catch her by surprise a few moments later instead, it actually works to my advantage. Let me show you, right? So, Natalie, I'm happy to. Is your email still natalie@xyz.com?
Yes, it is.
Oh, great. So listen, I can actually do something a little different here. I took some time preparing some specific recommendations with you for you. I had a chance to work with some sales leaders at companies very similar to XYZ company, and I thought these recommendations would be extremely helpful. I'm really excited to share them with you because I know that with my help, you can crush your goals in the next quarter and raise the bar for your team. If time is an issue, we could even do 20 minutes. How does next Thursday afternoon sound?
Okay, that sounds amazing. I'm actually looking forward to the information. Send me an invite.
Okay, great. Now, the power here is in the value of the recommendations, right, that I'm making. So, what I'm trying to do is build my credibility, right, showing that I've worked with some peers in the marketplace or some competitors that usually, piques their interest. And I've taken the time to prepare some recommendations for them. And when you do that, they're likely going to want to hear what you have to say. So, there's an element of like social proof and credibility that comes into play here.
That's so true. When you play that social proof card, that kind of actually that's the moment that you had me thinking like, okay, send the email. So, but now what if they're completely unwilling to say yes and insist on an email like after all of that?
Yeah, well, sometimes that happens. Some people are just dead set on not taking a meeting with you no matter what, right? And you know what? That's their loss. When that happens to me, I literally just send them a link to our website, then I make a note and try them again in 3 months.
Yeah, because I mean, honestly, no matter what, at that point, they're not going to get a ton of information from us via email. So
Yeah, exactly. That's what the website's for. Our marketing team worked hard to put the website together, and I'm sure that they'll tell us if our prospect is on there digging around in any meaningful way. Natalie, you're a marketing expert. You know that the marketing team keeps a close eye on who's on our website, digging around, what they're looking at, right? And that will come back to you as confirmation or proof that they were on the website. So in my opinion, just give them the website link. Don't send them a bunch of well-written emails or anything in any way that would replace the need to have a meeting.
Brilliant. That's so true. I mean, the email, the website's there. We can track that. You have all that. So that is, I mean, an excellent point. And I feel like you navigated through that so well. That's something that I can honestly say I probably just, yes, or is your email still this? Okay, and I'm going to send it right over to you and then have no idea what to, again, forget. So then you rolled right through that. So I only have time. I think we only have time for one more. Is that about right?
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if you consider this an objection, but it happens all the time. You call and the gatekeeper picks up. And now for those of you who don't know, the gatekeeper is like a secretary or like administrative assistant who answers the phone.
Right.
And it's their job basically to keep you from reaching their boss. So they're specifically instructed to block these sales calls. Okay. So Greg, what advice do you have for someone who is trying to get past this gatekeeper?
Yeah, great. That's a great one. So first, and this might not happen to you when you're calling like small businesses, but if you're calling established businesses with an office, right, or an enterprise, a large company, you're going to run into some gatekeepers, especially if you're calling people that are powerful, influential people within the company. So first rule of thumb, never, ever sell the gatekeeper. Now, I know everybody listening to this has heard that before, and yet we still do it, right? We get this urge to start blurting out all these salesisms, right? There's a psychological concept here that when you get them on the phone, you kind of want to make yourself, it's that ego again, right? We sell world-class, blah, blah, blah. So what I recommend is scrapping all of that. We're not selling the gatekeeper. But what I found is that when you use your full name, you sound really important. So when I call a prospect and the gatekeeper picks up, I keep my speech short, but I try to sound important.
Okay, well, let's try that. I like to chat, so I feel like you just described me to a T. So give me a ring, Greg. Let's go.
All right, ring, ring.
XYZ Company, how can I help you?
Greg Ross, I'm calling for Natalie.
Oh, you sound important.
Yeah. So this is a little bit of social engineering, right? Now, this is funny because the first question, I've just made a billion cold calls. So I know if I call and I say, is Natalie there? The first question they're going to ask, the first question they ask everyone is, who's calling, right? So what I'm also doing is I'm kind of preempting them. I'm telling them who I am right out of the gate. Greg Ross, I'm calling for Natalie. And this sounds so simple, but when you apply a little bit of social engineering here, you're going to find that you make it past that gatekeeper way more than you used to. And let me just elaborate, because I'm using a term here that might be a little foreign to some people. So social engineering is a technique that's used by hackers to gain access to a company by sounding like they belong, right? There's a famous hacker that hacked these huge telephone companies, and he did it by calling and posing as one of the employees, right? I'm not suggesting people do that, but what I'm suggesting is you just sound like you belong. When you call, you sound authoritative. So I took this concept and I applied it, the essence of that, to my cold calls.
And that is, seriously?
Yeah, it's really interesting.
That is so interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So just tell me more, because otherwise I'm going to sit here and I'm just going to probe and go in all these different directions.
Yeah, no worries. So if she asks me what the call is regarding, I'll tell her something like, oh, I had put together some Q1 training recommendations for her. Is she not in? I want to sound like almost surprised that the gatekeeper's not.
So we're not selling her.
No, we're not going to sell her. No. The second you tell her you're providing world-class sales training to leading sales teams, blah, 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 you're going to get hung up on. So you need to sound like you belong. There's a few other ways you can use social engineering on your cold calls too. You actually heard me doing a little bit of this during our role plays, but you didn't even realize it. So instead of asking for Natalie's email address, for example, I would say something like this. Hey, is Natalie's email still natalie@xyz.com? See, I'm not just going to ask for it outright, right? Even if I don't know it exactly, by making a guess, the prospect is more likely to confirm than to give you the information outright. So the same principle applies to getting a referral. Instead of asking who handles sales training, we want to do a quick, couple clicks on Google while we're talking and say something like, hey, I have in my notes that Greg Ross is in charge of sales training. Would he be the right person to talk to? Again, this is a type of suggestion that's easier for them to confirm than if you ask them outright. Does that make sense?
Yeah, why is that? Because that's fascinating. I mean, I'm sure you could read my face as I'm sitting here listening to you, because you got it with the email. I mean, you would think well, okay, he has the email. He must know who Natalie@xyz.com. So that's really fascinating. Why is that?
Yeah. So believe it or not, when you give out information to a salesperson and the person whose information you gave out starts getting tons of calls and emails every single day, you can get in trouble real easily, right? But if the salesperson already had the info, it's really easy to confirm. And that's exactly what they're likely to do. I know this from all of the calls that I've made. That's the importance of this concept of social engineering. And that's how you use it. You call, you sound important, right? And I've even gone so far, I'll just give you an example. If they say, oh, Natalie's in a meeting, I'll take it a step further and say, well, do you control Natalie's calendar? I'd like you to schedule me for 30 minutes with her next week.
But what if the gatekeeper just refuses to put you through? You get nothing.
Yeah, so this is really interesting. And the best way I've found to address this is it'll blow your mind. It's totally counterintuitive to what you would think as a salesperson, right? So you're a salesperson, you're calling, you're trying to sell them, right? But remember from our past conversations, Natalie, one of the most important things that you can do to distinguish yourself in sales is be a trusted advisor, right? That means that we understand the prospect's business, we understand their challenges maybe better than they do. When we talk, they do the Dr. Dre. Do you know what the Dr. Dre is?
I think I'm doing it right now. Am I not? Because I'm sitting here. Can you, explain? Okay, to all of our viewers, he's got me on this one before. It's good. I'm telling you, I know y'all think okay, you wrote down all those objections. You said they were so tough. You guys, he's so good. Can you just tell me what the Dr. Dre is? Because you caught me again. I'm doing it. I'm literally doing it right now.
Yeah, the Dr. Dre is when you nod your head along to the music, right? And as you're talking to your prospects, you want them doing that. They're feeling what you're laying down, right? So you're talking about their challenges, their business. And so because you're a trusted advisor, they should want to talk to you. You have information that's tremendously valuable. And so what I do is I take that confidence from the information that I have and I use it to carry me through to insane levels of boldness. So for example, when you're calling, asking them to schedule time. But if the gatekeeper doesn't want anything to do with you, hangs up on you, which yes, some of them will do in the ugliest possible way. I'll give you an example. I had this happen. I was selling healthcare technology once, and this happened to me. And I actually emailed the doctor a page, like a scathing, blistering email saying, hey, I took time to prepare these recommendations for you. We've been working with other peers in the market. My leadership team asked me to reach out to you. And when I'm just doing my job, trying to book time with you to share those recommendations, your gatekeeper hung up on me. She was very unprofessional. So I took it to the next step with this boldness and persistence because of the confidence. And guess what? 7 minutes later, the head of that medical practice called me on my cell phone and apologized, and they booked an introduction call with me. Why? That doesn't have anything to do with me being a salesperson or not a salesperson. It's tremendously valuable information and professionalism. That's what we're talking about. And when you become a trusted advisor, those become your greatest tools that you have in your tool belt. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and I think at that point, I think most of us would feel defeated. It would really, it would really take away my confidence if someone just hung up on me. But I mean, I love that approach. I mean, the boldness. That's an excellent reminder.
Yeah, and people think that boldness is this like thing that you're born with. It's not. The boldness comes from the information that you have and how valuable you know it is to the people that you're trying to talk to. And listen, salespeople, don't forget, when you're reaching out to these people, your team has already determined they're a perfect fit for what you have to offer. And that offering is valuable. It helps them overcome challenges. It helps them achieve critical business goals. Don't ever lose perspective on how valuable you are as the salesperson to them. Don't ever lose that perspective. All right. That's what I'm getting off my pedestal.
No, I love your conviction. It's great. You guys, thank you so much for tuning in again to the show where we talk all things sales, marketing, and how to win the game. Greg Ross, thank you for sitting in with us again.
Of course, it's my pleasure. I'm happy to do it. And let me just tell you guys, listen, I know we covered, how many did we cover, Natalie? 3 objections today?
You are a wizard. You rolled right through.
There's 20 plus that you'll run into when you're cold calling. So if you need help with this, if this is something that you're really feeling insecure, not confident about, and you want to book a few sessions, come to my website. We'll put the link in the description below and book a free session with me. My door is always open. We can talk about the challenges that you're having individually in your role and how we can solve them, put a coaching plan together for you. Or you can go to my social handles. I think we're pretty much everywhere. We're on TikTok, we're on LinkedIn. You can send me a connection there. You can, check out more YouTube videos. Of course, you can subscribe to my newsletter. And Natalie, there's one additional bonus item that I want to toss in for folks today, if it's okay.
What?
So, as a sales coach and trainer, I've trained and coached billions. Okay, that might be an exaggeration. Top performing salespeople. But one of the benefits that I have from doing that job for such a long time and seeing so many top performers, you tend to get an idea of what the common factors are that make people successful in sales. So I put together a top rep checklist with 5 key areas that I focus on for improvement in your sales game. One of them is prospecting, and just one of the tips I give you in the checklist will help you boost your pipeline by 30 to 60%. So we'll make that available as well.
Yeah, you are the real MVP. Thank you for even adding that in. There's a little added bonus. I didn't know you were going to hit me with that. So you guys check the description below. You'll be able to see exactly where to find him. And Greg, I hope they connect with you there. Thank you so much, again, taking the time and doing this with us today. I know I appreciate it, and so did all of our viewers.
Yeah, it was fun. We'll do it again, okay? Thanks, Natalie.